first, Alan, I mean, you've been with this for a long, long time. You've brought the Saga program from kind of area to area in different contexts, from charters from Match in Boston to Chicago. It's now been rolled out in Chicago, actually at a scale I think very few appreciate. I mean, I was talking to some of the researchers who have written about what Saga does, and from what I can tell, something like 3 or 4% of all high schoolers in Chicago have been treated with Saga tutoring, which is just a remarkably high percentage for those of you guys watching at home. I mean, this is thousands and thousands of Chicago high school students. So can you just take us a little bit into the mechanics of high dosage tutoring, the Saga way? What is it that you think is bringing the success to this program? And to what extent can that be brought to other regions?
That's a great question. And by the way, that large number of kids who've been supported in Chicago was at a time when our cost per pupil was double what it is now. And our cost per pupil is heading down another 40% in the next year or two as we refine our model and try some variations in dosage, ratio of tutor to kids, and caseload of the tutor across the day. So we're driving it down so that it becomes easy to fund it under a sustainable source of federal funding, which would be the Title I allocation, roughly $1,000, $1,100 per pupil. If there's one public source, and that's been around 55 years and recently it's been increased, that would be the single source schools and districts could use to fund tutoring in perpetuity if they want to take advantage of this time to really reform the way they deliver education to kids. So the model is, first off, build it as part of the day. It's a period on kids' schedules. In most of our districts, it's a period that, at least in the high school level, the kids get credit for, whether elective credit or math course credit. It's a period on the day. So they go to that every day. In schools with block schedules, it's every other day. It's a longer period. So there's some variations of that. We've done work in middle schools as well, where it really should be assigned as a cohort of kids who travel throughout the day. One cohort A has tutoring first period, then there are other classes. One cohort has tutoring second period, and there are other classes. In elementary school, it's really a pull-out model that works best. So different models, but our focus has been on high school algebra 1. So we build it in the day. The tutors we source are the kind that Teach for America might source, but a little bit different. Recent grads, as well as mid-career switchers, as well as retirees. Everywhere we've been, this is 17 years, we've had 8 to 23 applicants for every time we've deployed in a city. And that's interesting news because good economy or bad, there are people who want to support and serve kids, but until this idea of in-school day tutoring, there's never been a door open for them except to be a teacher or maybe an assistant, but they can have a full-time job as a tutor. We think that's a really important piece of information because these people could ultimately become teachers. And the diversity of this force is 2 to 3 times the average diversity of the urban public district in America, which is 14 to 25%. Black or Latinx, our tutors every year, every city, 17 years, 30 to 50% are people of color. And that's a really important piece of this message. So build it as part of the day, consistent with kids, keep the relationship assigned to the tutor and the kids consistent all year. So it's not like a room where a student comes up and sits with whatever adult is there. They have their personal tutor. After a week or so, kids are in the hallway saying, that's my tutor. Tutor saying, that's my kid. Because that relationship Carly mentioned earlier is so central to this whole concept. We do a formative assessment, interims, and a baseline to measure growth. We track our progress by how kids are doing in their math class because we're not replacing the math class. This is teacher friendly. This is not to replace the teachers. It's to supplement, to do what every teacher dreams of doing, which is to personalize for kids. But with a student load of 80 to 100, 150, it's not possible for teachers to do. Kids get this personalized time. We communicate with parents once a month as part of the model to build a relationship there in support of the student. We collaborate with the teachers and the department to try to follow what the teacher's instruction is by a day or two. So we're reinforcing and going through both the basic and prerequisite skills for the grade level material so the kids can get back to class the next day more confident and more prepared. So build it as part of the day is I think, the key innovation. Hardly an innovation, but hard for schools to do. Where do you find the time? It's one of the 4 principal decisions a school needs to make first. How do you design this program? How much dosage will you give? How will you find the time? How will you source your talent? How will you give them training, pre-service and in-service? What materials should they use? Those are the key preliminary decisions a district needs to make before it goes into this work.